Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and welcome to PlayLoad. This is all my video game pickups for the month of April 2022. A little bit of an asterisk with this one. I have to film this one a few days early because I'm going to be a guest at Midwest Gaming Classic, and if you've never been and you see this video, the convention is actually still going on the day this video comes out. So I'm out there with the Sega Pluto. Come out and meet me. It's fun. And if you could do me a favor, please hit that like button, subscribe if possible, and leave a comment. That's always appreciated. Social media stuff is in the description. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Patreon, all that sort of stuff is down there. Thank you. Now, let's go ahead and get on with it. To the pickups. We'll just start right at the beginning. This one is kind of sad for me because this is the last one of the last, I think it's one of, not the, but one of the last vestiges of my former Gamers Club Unlocked membership over at Best Buy. Yes, there is a channel in 2022 still talking about Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked. For those who don't remember it, like 10 years ago, I mean, seriously, it was like 2014 or so when they launched that program. Best Buy had this thing where if you paid $30, you got 2 years of coverage, and then what would happen is you'd automatically get 20% off of all of your games. So that's huge. I mean, think about it. If that's a game $60, you're getting it for 48. And so I've met, my membership expired a long time ago, but a guy contacted me and said he had been stacking memberships, and his was actually going to be good until like the end of 2023. Eventually, Best Buy no longer allowed that. They just refunded his money and said, we'd rather have you give you your $30 back than continue to allow this to exist. But before that ended, he told me, go on a crazy spree, pre-order anything you want, because it would apply to pre-orders. And I pre-ordered a game that took forever to come out, but it is now finally out, which is Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. This is specifically the deluxe edition for the Xbox Series X. It also came with a steel book, and inside it has a Luke Skywalker blue milk figure, and it has like the season pass for all the DLC and stuff. There's a regular version of this. This is again the deluxe edition. This one was $70 originally, but because I had that, it was only down to like 50 something or whatever. So very cool to get that. It's so far, I mean, I like all the Lego games. I think they're a lot of fun. And this one, too bad it's, what's supposed to be new about it is the Disney era of Star Wars, which I'm obviously not a huge fan of. But that said, it's still cool that this exists, and it's going to be, I'm going to have a lot of fun time playing this when I have a little more time on my hands. It's interesting, though. I remember going to a private, screening of this game in E3 2019. I mean, that's how far back this goes. So at that show, they were just showing us in-depth gameplay, behind closed curtains, and they're like, this is what's going to happen, it'll affect the story, and then the trilogies can all play out differently based on which order you play them in, which was kind of interesting, and the primary hub world can change. But this game took forever to finish, so I assume a lot of stuff was changed for whatever reason, so I doubt it reflects much of what I originally saw. But my point with all that is, wow, this game took forever that I still got a discount on it. There are still a few more random ones, I think Metroid Prime 4 I had actually managed to pre-order before all that, even though that's still vaporware. But yeah, at some point. So there you go. The next thing I got was actually from GG Retro Gaming. I've talked about him on this channel a lot of times in the past. Cool guy, runs a store out in Sacramento, and he tends to just kind of, at this point, he seems to just be sending me something every month. He seems to pick games at random. He picked this. This is Catherine for the Xbox 360. I was kind of surprised when I opened this because I assumed I had it, and I didn't, which is cool. And yeah, so this is actually, this game, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys know about this game, but it's a weird game about a guy trapped inside of a nightmare of a girl or whatever. And it's made by Atlas and happens to be backwards compatible with the Xbox One and Xbox Series X, which is also very cool. There is a sequel to this that Sega put out, sort of, now that Sega owns Atlas, but I haven't really had much exposure to that. But there you go. Very cool nonetheless. So thank you to GG Retro Gaming. If you want anything GG Retro Gaming has a lot of stuff. I'll put a link in the description. You can go and check them out if you want. So thank you very much for that. Moving on. Despite the fact that I was talking about Midwest Gaming Classic, I actually did go to a different convention. I went to one called COMO or COMO. It was in Columbia, Missouri. I was a guest. They were cool enough to bring me out. And, you know, here's my badge. Says I'm a YouTuber and all that sort of stuff. Little pamphlet about the thing, and it's cool. It's got this, I mean, you know, I like seeing my own name and face in print, right on. So it's just information about me. But yeah, that was a fun little convention, and while I was there, I met up with the guys at Old School Gamer magazine. They gave me one of these little cleaning cards. They also gave me a copy of the newest magazine, which is a little special to me, because while you can get this issue digitally, you can read this online if you want, you can get it physically, and I wrote an article for this one. I did an article all about the Sega Pluto prototype. Which is really cool, you know, so it's like the whole history of it as far as we can tell. And yeah, you can go ahead and read this online for free if you want, but you can also get it physically at various conventions. Como was one of them. Midwest Gaming Classic, it'll also be there as well. But yeah, that's just, you know, I've been published again. But yeah, no big deal, but it's cool nonetheless. So thank you to the guys over at Old School Gamer for letting me do that. Moving on though, at the convention I got a few things, not a ton of stuff, just a couple of random items. There was, right at the beginning of the convention, there were guys who had like boxes of stuff they were just trying to get rid of, so it was literally everything in these bins are free. So I just grabbed a couple of things. I got just a Game Boy plastic case, like case protector thing, no big deal, and a PSP case. I think I have a spare PSP that doesn't have one, so that's why I grabbed it, and if not, I'm sure I can, you know, put a phone in it or something. I don't know. It just was like, oh, cool, free, fine. But I also bought some stuff. I got some original Xbox games, as I've mentioned before in the past. I want a complete original Xbox set. I've managed to get all of the Asian exclusives. So there's like 48 Japanese ones. There's one from South Korea, and there's one, the true chase figure, is a game called Damon Vector that was only released in Taiwan and Singapore. I have that. I have the 4 Australian exclusives. I now have all the European exclusives. If you guys saw the show last month, ironically, the one I'm missing a ton of is the American stuff. So fortunately, Xbox is still not that expensive, and I just kind of chip away at it. But here's what I ended up getting. CRUSTY Demons, which is some sort of motorcycle game. I kind of remember this one being somewhat significant at the time, but I don't remember why. I don't know if it's because it was just really bad or what the deal is. I'm just speculating. I don't know. We got MTV Music Generator 3. This is the remix. I'm not a music person, so it's just for the collection. Pro Race Driver, which is probably the best game in here. That, or maybe it was CRUSTY Demons. I don't know. I would bet one of those two are the most entertaining ones. NHL 2004 and NFL 2K2. The only thing interesting about this one to me is the fact that this is one of the few games that has both an Xbox and a Dreamcast version. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. Really nothing special here. It was just kind of, oh good, I can chip away at some stuff. But I did get some cool things, some more high-end items. I want to give a huge shout out to the Video Game Dad's podcast, specifically Adam Sharp. Also my buddy Ben, who helps to run it. But Adam Sharp, because he had a lot of great stuff he was selling, and he cut me an amazing deal. I got some Neo Geo CD games from him, and I'm very spoiled because I've been to Japan a bunch of times, so I know when to not. I typically don't buy Japanese imports within the States because you're paying an extreme premium on that, when I know full well if I am in Japan that I'll be able to get it for like 1/10 of what I'm seeing it for. So in this case, he had a bunch of Neo Geo CD games, and I'll just say he charged me Japanese prices for the following games. We got Fire Suplex, Ninja Commando, which is actually a surprisingly hard one to get. Well, not hard so much as expensive. Super Baseball 2020, as well as an indie game I didn't know existed called Andro Dunos, which is by Visco, which is technically, I believe this was kind of published not by Josh Prod, but by Pixel Heart, and like that group. I didn't even know this existed. There are just a handful of indie games on the Neo Geo CD, and this happens to be one of them. So yeah, he cut me a nice deal on all 4 of those, so huge shout out to Adam Sharp. Again, check out the Video Game Dad's podcast. You don't have to, as I once said about them, you don't have to be a dad to listen to it. But yeah, no, very cool. I don't really have a specific goal with the Neo Geo CD. It doesn't have the biggest library. It's like 90 games. I have a bunch. I have like 45 or something like that. I don't remember offhand. I've never said like, hey, I want to get a full set. But I'm inching closer to it, minus the extremely hard ones, which I'm sure I'll never get. So I guess I would say my goal with the Neo Geo CD is to get every game that I can realistically get without breaking the bank. So yeah, thank you to Adam Sharp again for helping to make that possible. But yeah, that was all I ended up getting at the convention. But it's not all I ended up with. You can see some packages here, and also just a little odd item I thought was cool. So my girlfriend's in town. My girlfriend lives in Portugal, and as a result, I don't get to see her super often, but when we do, it's always fun. She was kind of clearing out her place, and when she came, she brought some stuff for me. These are little brochures from Club Sega, the Portuguese Club Sega. These are like little promotional things that have screenshots for games that were coming up, that type of thing. But what's kind of cool about it is not only is it like the Portuguese versions, it actually has a bunch of games that were never actually released, or games that were released but never actually came out. Mostly this is from the Sega Saturn era. So like I remember there's like ads for not only like paraphernalia like backpacks and clothes and random, Sonic merch and stuff like that, but it has ads for games like Heart of Darkness, the Saturn version, which never saw the light of day. And various stuff like that. Some, Mega Drive or Genesis games that never were actually released. Alternate cover art, that type of thing. Just a cool little thing. I actually, I took some photos of these and I showed them to my buddy Kelsey Lewin, who, another YouTuber I'm sure a lot of you guys know, who also runs Video Game History Foundation, and she was like, oh wow, we don't actually have a record of those. I'd love to scan those. So eventually you guys will be able to look at these. It's in some form digitized and it will actually be sourced from these. So thank you to my girlfriend for doing that. Now, we have packages. It's kind of a mixed bag because I know what some of these are and some I have no idea. The first thing we've got here is from Christian Bradley Hubbs. He just randomly contacted me. He's like, hey man, I've got something for you that I believe he said was not about this channel, but my other channel. If you're not aware, I do a travel channel now called Flying and Eating with Adam Koralik, hence the weight gain. But yeah, on that channel, I basically go around the world and go check out different things, and I just kind of show you guys the journey, and I make recommendations in case you ever want to go to these places. I believe what he said was, by the way, subscribe to that if you haven't already. I'll put a link there. Hey, please, thank you. Okay. He said that this, if I recall correctly, he said that he's sending this based on that channel, so I don't entirely know what it is, but let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, put that down there, and we've got a note. Okay. Hi Adam, in regard to your second channel, Flying and Eating, I want to say thanks for taking us along with you and allowing us to vicariously travel to all these different places. You're like a tour guide for us gamers, and probably others who have found your second channel and don't get the gaming references at all, which is definitely true. With your trips to the territories, it was cool that you could relive your trips with your mom in your own little known paradise of Guam. I hope that this will I hope that we come out of this pandemic, myself and I and other viewers can get out and explore and appreciate different parts of the world. Because you do such a good job promoting the U.S. territories, which, by the way, I just got back from Puerto Rico yesterday at the time I'm recording this. When I saw these colored coins in a hobby store, I instantly thought of you. My step-grandfather got me into numismatics, coin collecting. All right, see, I'm glad he explained it because I'd never heard that word when I was a kid. So I have folders of all the states and all the territory quarters, plus other coins. So I thought you might like these coins commemorating the different territories plus DC, and hopefully soon the territories and U.S. citizens living there get proper representation and statehood, which, by the way, I totally agree with. Thanks for making these videos that expand our outlook of the world. Christian. Well, that's really cool. Actually, I do have the quarters collection. I remember I do have those, but only like the 50 states. I think I have a couple of the territories, and the only reason I didn't end up pursuing them all is just because the territories on all the maps and stuff that I had weren't represented, which tells you a lot. Oh, that's really cool. Wow, so these are they're like colorized too. This is a quarter for the U.S. Virgin Islands, which I was just there earlier this year. The District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., been there, actually, also this year. Guam, obviously, I was just there. The Northern Mariana Islands, which, again, I was there this year. Puerto Rico, which I was just there yesterday. And here we have the outlier, American Samoa. This is the only part of the United States I have never been to. There are 56 areas of the United States, meaning 50 states plus DC plus the 5 territories, not including like the 17 or 18 minor outlying islands, like Wake Island, that are not populated. Of all of those 56 areas, because there's really no better term for it, I've been to 55. The only one I've never been to, American Samoa, and I'm hoping to change that, but it's also by far the hardest to get to. Dude, that's really cool. That's really awesome. I mean, that'll go perfect. Like, I know you guys can't see it, but I'll show footage of it. I have this like map that has like a spot for all the states. This is going to go amazing with that. Dude, thank you so much. That's really cool. Yeah, thank you to Christian. If you guys can check out the other channel, like, hey, it's cool. You never really get to see these places. I've done videos on all of them except American Samoa. I will do videos on Puerto Rico. Like I said, I just got back from there, so you'll see that coming up. But that's really cool. So thank you very much. We'll move on though. We'll talk about some game stuff here. This package, I'm not 100% sure what this is. So let's just open it up. It came from Singapore. I think I know what this is, but it's not something I ordered. I think this comes from, if I had to guess, most of the stuff that comes randomly from Singapore for me is from One Print Games. They're like kind of like a limited run games type of company where they basically produce like 3,000 copies of a game, and usually for like the Switch. And well, okay, we got a note. If I can get it out of the box. Okay. Ah, okay. Yep. One Print Games says it right there. Okay, from One Print Games, we've got. Greetings, Detective. I hope you enjoy your copy of Paradise Killer, Kaizen Gameworks open world mystery adventure. The Paradise Killer physical edition is complete on cart with the latest update featuring new music tracks, mysterious beings, and more. In Paradise Killer, you play as an investigation freak lady Love Dies, who has been summoned from exile and to investigate the murder of Paradise's council on the eve of the island's rebirth. Gather evidence, interrogate suspects, and uncover secrets in a surreal world while enjoying the vaporware soundtrack composed by Barry Epoch, E-P-O-C-H, topping. Paradise Killer has received critical acclaim worldwide with awards such as PC Gamer's Best Adventure Game of 2020 and IGN Japan's 2021 Best Soundtrack of the Year. Oh, well, there you go. So let's take a look at the game. Yeah, One Print Games, nice sticker there. So it comes with a little keychain. It's all kind of bundled up. I don't really want to take it apart. It's got a keychain, a card about the. I've seen these cards before on the other ones they sent me. They're like authenticity cards that show like what number you have and all that stuff. The game itself, Paradise Killer, and then what looks like either like postcards and a sticker, just like various press kit type of stuff for the game. That's cool, man. Yeah, Paradise Killer for the Nintendo Switch. I'll put a link in the description to One Print Games, so hopefully you can still get this. That would be very cool. But yeah, thank you to One Print Games. Really, seriously, thank you. It's really nice of you. And okay, so we'll move on to the next one. This one comes from France, and I don't know what it is. I'm guessing it's from Pixel Heart, but I don't know. Let's find out. Yeah, you guys have to understand, like, obviously I don't order these things. A lot of the time what happens is they just kind of, like, you end up on, like, a mailing list and they just kind of send you stuff. So I'm very happy to tell people about it because it's a very nice thing to do, but you don't have to send me things. I appreciate Christian doing that, but, like, I appreciate One Print Games and everybody doing stuff like that, but you don't have to. I was never expected or anything. Okay, yeah, it's definitely from Pixel Heart. So there we go. There's a little thanks for your order. Well, like I said, I didn't order anything, but we have a little button, and this looks like a Switch game. Oh, hey! Check this out. It's Andro Dunos 2, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, for the Switch. Does that sound familiar? I have one here for the Neo Geo CD. Talk about a generational leap. Wow, what the hell are the odds of that? That's really cool. Actually, fun fact, this game was just released by Pixel Heart for the 3DS, and I think it's actually the last 3DS game. So if you're interested in that, you can get the Switch version, but you can also get other versions. I'll put a link to Pixel Heart in the description. I don't know if you can get this, the Neo Geo CD game. Dude, wow. I know it looks like I planned that, but I swear I didn't. I had no idea. That's really cool. That's amazing. And then the button, which I don't know if this character is in the game. It doesn't look like somebody that would be, but no, that is number 8 common. Oh, sorry, it's a common pin. Bitmap Kid. Okay, there you go. That's the name of this bitmap kid. Well, dude, thank you. That's a huge shout out to Pixel Heart. I could not possibly have planned that. Like, that's amazing. Okay, so thank you to them. We're going to move on to our last package and our last item here. Just a heads up, this is not video games. This is Blu-rays, but if you're into movies at all, this is kind of cool. So I got a buddy down in Australia. His name's AJ. And he sent me a bunch of Blu-rays. Now, I've talked about this in the past before, but the thing about Australia is there's a lot of movies and TV shows from the States that only get physical editions for some reason in Australia. I can only speculate on it, but from what I've gathered, it's because mostly down to licensing. Like if you've ever wondered why most Blu-rays or DVDs kind of are standard at like $20 or $25 in the US, the plastic it's being made out of is pennies, which are mostly buying as the license. And the value of that license changes from country to country. Japan, for example, is ludicrous. Like a new Blu-ray there can be like $80, $90, which is why rentals, like Tetsuya, I think is the name of the chain, essentially it's like Blockbuster, is still quite popular in Japan because it's still prohibitively expensive to buy Blu-rays. Not games, but Blu-rays and DVDs over there. Australia, on the other hand, it's like it's comically cheap. And I think, if I'm just guessing, but what I think happens is that some markets, they're like, it's just not worth making a Blu-ray of that financially in this region. But in Australia, where it's so much cheaper to do it, they're like, fine, give it a physical edition. So he rounded up a bunch of Blu-rays for me, and I think there's a couple DVDs as well, and he shipped them off. And again, it's the same basic rule, not only applies to Blu-rays, but it does apply to DVDs. And I've shown a couple, he sent me a package of this stuff before, and I showed it to you at the time. So I don't entirely remember what I ordered because basically we just kind of waited until there was enough to be worth sending because shipping from Australia is not the cheapest thing. But if I can get through this, okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. Let's see, cut there. Okay, good. And inside, we've got packaging and a whole bunch of movies and DVDs. So let's take a look here, shall we? The first thing we have, which is the child in me wanted this. This is Nickelodeon's All Grown Up. This is like the complete series. This was the basically sequel series to Rugrats, if you remember growing up with it. This is actually a much better show than you would imagine. I mean, you have to be a child at heart to appreciate it, of course, but it did actually, I believe it got a physical set here, but the price is the other thing. Like, there can be, I showed this in the last video, the last time I did one of these, like, we got the entire Blu-ray series of X-Files here, right? But it's like $300. Down there, it's like $100. And even with shipping and everything, you still come out way ahead. So I think this is one of those cases where, like, we technically got this, but the Australian version's like less than half of the American one. So very cool. I'm going to save this one, I think, for last. This is a movie called Spanglish. It's an Adam Sandler movie, not like a normal Adam Sandler movie. It's like occasionally when Adam Sandler decides to do a real movie by acting in other people's movies. It's not the best movie ever, but it's actually pretty good. And again, in Australia, this was $7 with the exchange rate. That's maybe $5 for a movie that has never had a Blu-ray physical edition in the United States. We got Air Crash Investigation Season 20. This is one of my favorite guilty pleasure shows. This is like the history of aviation and like every plane crash that's ever happened. They do like entire recreations of those. I have the first 19 seasons on DVD. It's a Canadian-American show. Like, it's a fusion of the two. And it only gets DVDs of it in Australia. That's it. I don't know. Well, I do kind of know why, but that's it. And so whenever there's a new set, I'm like, hey man, I need that. And it's not only is it exclusive to Australia, it's typically exclusive to JB Hi-Fi, which is like Australian Best Buy. Actually, that's where all of these came from. And so, he also gets nice discounts over there too. So it's just like amazing. But yeah, very cool. Also, I should mention, these are always region free. That's the greatest thing about them. On top of all of that, Australia, while technically they have their own region coding, I've never seen them use it. I have tons of DVDs and Blu-rays from down there, and every single time they just work. I've never had a region problem from there. But yeah, very cool. I love this show. And I'm the kind of jerk who flies so much that I'm willing to watch this on planes. Like, I used to digitize it, put it on a tablet, and then watch it on a plane. I didn't care, but other people around you don't seem to enjoy that too much. We got Not Another Teen Movie. Anybody remember this? I always liked this movie, but it was one of the last like parody movies of those types that actually wasn't hot garbage. I'm sure a lot of people would argue that it is, but I quite enjoyed it. But again, another one that just never got a physical edition here. Very cool. Mr. Holland's Opus. Anybody remember this? Richard Dreyfuss is like a music teacher. I remember really liking this movie. And the first time I saw it, and of all places, was Costa Rica. And I was like, wow, that's a cool movie. And just, it still just doesn't have a Blu-ray. It's had a DVD for years, but these are, you know, much nicer. Coneheads, the SNL movie. Again, no physical edition here. But there it's got it. So very awesome. And this one is truly special. This is U-Turn. This is a Sean Penn, Jennifer Lopez movie directed by Oliver Stone, of all people. This movie technically had a Blu-ray release here, but it was like a convention exclusive, and there was like 500 copies made. Whereas the exact same transfer was sold publicly in JB Hi-Fi in Australia for like $10. Whereas the American one can be like hundreds of dollars. Not his most well-known movie, or anybody's most well-known movie of this crew, but it's got Sean Penn, Jennifer Lopez, Nick Nolte, Powers Booth, Claire Danes, Joaquin Phoenix, Billy Bob Thornton, and John Voight are all in this movie. This is a cool movie. But yeah, very awesome. So that will about do it for me. Huge shout out to AJ for helping me with that. Huge shout out to Pixel Heart, One Print Games, Christian, as well as GG Retro Gaming. Of course, the people at the CMO, well, specifically Sumner Henry. This convention was compiled and assembled, put together by a 16-year-old kid. We were super impressed because he did not come off as 16 until we met him, and we're like, oh my god, this kid's going to be a multi-millionaire producer at some point. The way he was able to organize a convention very well, like better than I've seen anybody else. I'm not going to say nobody's ever done a better job, but I'm going to say for a 16-year-old kid, he's already like, I've seen worse. You know what I'm saying? Like he did it really well. I've seen 40-year-olds do way worse. So congratulations to Sumner for running a successful convention. Old School Gamer magazine as well for the hookup there. So then thank you guys very much for watching. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out the new channel if you don't mind. Check out the links here below. Social media, Discord, Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, all that. I appreciate that as always. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.